land and protection for loyalty, service, and money. That's basically how this works. You exchange, the king gives land to the nobles. The nobles have to provide, swear their loyalty, their fealty to the king. They have to provide service and money to the king. The nobles give manners to the knights. Not like they make them behave well, but these manners we were discussing earlier. The nobles give manners to the knights, and in exchange, the knights have to provide, swear their fealty, their loyalty to the nobles, to the lords, and also they provide service, money, and so on to them. And then same thing for the peasants. So to wrap this up, there are several advantages to this system. It really does help them out a lot. First, the king doesn't have to micromanage. He doesn't have to micromanage his kingdom. Basically, he's able to rely on the nobles and the lords, the knights, to take care of things for him. And that makes a lot of sense, because at the time, they didn't have the money. Well, this is the next part. All right, so the second part of this is basically they're able to protect themselves against invasion without needing a large standing army. So let me clarify this. I'm not saying they don't have an army because, well, as we just talked through, the knights, they're the ones who serve as basically the foot soldiers, the tanks of the feudal system. The difference is, if you have a standing army, you have to pay for that continuously. Even in times of peace, you're paying your soldiers to protect the country. In the feudal system, most of the soldiers are peasants. The knights are the specialized warriors, but most of the soldiers are the peasants, and you only use them as soldiers when you need them. So you don't have to pay them in that way. It's a lot cheaper. But they can still provide protection. Disadvantages, though. And there's a couple disadvantages here. One, I'm going to do this because it's faster. Europe falls behind technologically and academically, right? Basically, because they're so localized, because there's not, they're not funding schools to teach people to read and write. Because of that, at the same time that the Song dynasty, the Tang dynasty are inventing the printing press, the magnetic compass, gunpowder, all those amazing inventions, the same time that the Caliphate is inventing algebra, Europe is stuck in the feudal system and is really just worrying about, do we have food? Do we have protection? Cool. In addition to that, in the feudal system, there's very little possibility for social mobility. Peasants are legally peasants. They cannot become knights. If you've ever seen A Knight's Tale, it's not true. You can't do that. It's a nice story. I love that movie. Not true. And lastly, this is a hard life for people. To be a peasant, you have to work incredibly hard. You're farming your own land. You're farming the Lord's land. You're paying taxes. You have to serve in the military when they call you up. It's an incredibly difficult life for most people. And like we said earlier, it's very dirty. All right? So, That, my friends, is what the feudal system is all about. Tomorrow, where am I? There I am. Hello. Hi. Tomorrow in class, we're going to process this a little bit. We'll practice this in writing. But before we go, I want you guys to answer this question. How does the feudal system establish order in Western Europe after the fall of Rome? All right. How does the feudal system establish order in Western Europe after the fall of Rome? To do that, it's an explain question. All right, so you have to show me, like, why is there a need for order to start off? You have to tell me what the feudal system is, and then you have to show me how it establishes order. There's really those three parts to that question. So take a stab at that. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night.